What is up, fight fans? I am Jason Burgos for MixedMartialArts.com, and I have the pleasure of being joined by one of the fastest rising talents in the UFC's bantamweight division. He is currently on a 6-fight win streak, 3 of those being knockouts inside the octagon if you're counting the Contender Series. On July 24th, he returns to action to take on another highly touted prospect in the division in Randy Costa. That man competing in the battle of Dr. Pepper versus Reese's Buttercups is the one they call Mr. Knockout, aka Adrian Yanez. Mr. Knockout, sir, thank you for the time today.
Oh man, thank you for the platform, man. It's fun for me.
Oh, they're here to see you. You are Mr. Knockout. I am Mr. Nobody. I'm excited to talk to you. So let's jump right into it. You're just a few weeks shy, being a year in this whole UFC thing, Octagon experience. From that night, from the Contender Series on, like I mentioned, 3 knockouts, stuff like that. How has life changed? Because it's a big spotlight. When you're in that spotlight successfully, the spotlight gets even bigger quick. Are there any real memorable things you've had this last year that wouldn't have happened without being in the UFC? Are there moments that really stand out where maybe you inspired someone, or you found out contemporaries, other fighters in UFC were bigger fans than you even realized?
Oh yeah, man, there's actually a lot of that. There's a lot of everything. Everything that you just mentioned, a lot of it. Man, it honestly kind of changed my life and how I actually go about things and how even train. After the Contender Series, I was begging, hey, sign me so I can quit my job.
Yeah.
And then right before that, right before my debut, I was able to quit my job, and then it paid off even bigger because I came back with a knockout and also a performance bonus, and then just made it even easier for me to train and not to worry about anything. And then going into that March fight, put on another dominant performance and get another performance bonus, so that's made me stress free about dealing with money for the next couple years, because man, I was making I was barely I tripled what I've made in my first the 2020 year than I've made in the last couple years of working. So I was man, it made so much of a difference, and being able to just solely focus on training has been a blessing. And also too, man, just being able to inspire a couple other people with my story, being able to reach a couple people, man, that's amazing. And it does make me feel really good when someone tells me, dude, I saw your story. It made me want to get up and do something. And then also too with fighters, man, I remember on October 31st, whenever I fought, I saw Kevin Holland, and he was and I didn't even know who I knew he knew who I was.
Yeah.
And he was that's you. You're Adrian. Wait, you know me? And I thought that was so cool. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then it was pretty cool to be able to fight on March 20th together again. So it was pretty cool. It was good seeing a familiar face who's very kind, very friendly. Unless you kind of piss him off, then he talks. Yeah. Unless you're fighting him. So it's pretty cool.
And I was watching a recent interview you did, and you were making the point how even if you make $50,000 in a year, that's still living well where you're living in Texas. And I love that point of view because it's regular people thoughts, but it also shows MMA fighters, especially early in the UFC, don't make a ton. But I liked your outlook. That said, you mentioned you made way more, almost triple than what you made in past years. Was there any splurge expenses? I'm not saying crazy stuff like you could buy a chain car, but upgraded the apartment you want, upgraded the car, those kind of big, oh my God, I've been waiting years for this kind of moments.
Oh no, man, the housing market is in a pretty weird spot right now. Everything's super high, so
True.
I've kind of held back from it. I was really looking to get into a house pretty soon, but man, with the prices and how everything is going out, and then also too, man, getting a loan has been one of those weird things for me, because now that I had applied for a mortgage loan, they're oh well, you kind of have to wait a little bit because you got to show continuous income. I was dude, you see what I got to think, man? Come on,
I can show you the income on video. What's up?
Come on, man, look at it. But no, it's I've not been stupid with money. I haven't been throwing it buying anything. Like honestly, the most expensive thing I've been buying is probably food. You know, so
Yeah.
like fight camp. You know, I spend a lot trying to make sure that I'm healthy. Like trying to make sure that I'm like eating the right thing, getting
Yeah.
the right supplements and everything. So that's my biggest expense. But after that, man, I'm just trying to save and just trying to invest into the future. Because man, like at the end of the day, again, how many times do we see it like
Yep.
at people's tail end of careers fighting for money? And I actually want to put myself in a position where I can fight for the love of it very early on,
Yeah.
so I don't have to worry about money for the rest of my life. So, man, even if I start making those bigger paychecks, I still want to kind of keep my mind uh, in a saving and investing type of deal, so I can, pass something on. You know, like I
Yeah.
don't want to just be able to live good for myself. I want like generations to to be like living decent if I can.
Yeah. See, this is why people like you. This is why you're lovable. You're young, man, but you have that up here. That's what I appreciate. Now, I wanted to talk to you about your boxing skills because it has gotten a lot of attention. Legendary boxing trainer analyst Teddy Atlas tweeted about it in March. The division's champion recently, Aljamain Sterling, compared it to Jorge Masvidal, and that's a pretty good comparison. A lot of people are doing. What were your boxing influences growing up? And if you could sum up your style in a few words, how would you explain it? Is Masvidal kind of the direction, or is there other influences like Julio Cesar Chavez, De La Hoya, something else from youth?
Oh man, like I actually used to watch Julio Cesar Chavez highlights growing up, and actually watching them before I'd go out and fight because I absolutely loved the that style, walking forward, punch, and then all of a sudden they throw something, you counter that. So I've always appreciated that style, and I love the come forward style and being able to push the pace and push forward and dig deep whenever you have to. So like I would always watch that. I would try to say I'm closely trying to emulate what he's done, but mixing it over into MMA. Also, too, another great inspiration was Anderson Silva. Whenever I was coming up and watching him at a younger age and seeing what he did, I was like, man, I really love how he made people miss and made it spectacular, And then also, too, whenever I started watching a little bit more of Jorge Masvidal, after the Ala Quinto fight, I started noticing, like, man, this guy has really good hands. He has really good movement. Nothing's wasted. So I can see all the inspirations of where I fight and how I try to fight. Like, early on, like one of my biggest role models that I always loved watching fight. Like, I would watch breakdowns of him before I'd go spar, and that was Manny Pacquiao. Like, I had loved the like how he took one tool and made it so successful. And then he started adding things here and there and started building himself up. And you see the progression every single fight. And you're just like, oh, now he's like really, really, he's a great, phenomenal fighter. And going from a guy who just had a left hand to a guy who knows how to box and going against these bigger guys and putting them out was like one of those things I admired a lot too. So I have inspirations everywhere. I have a lot of inspirations. And right now, my biggest, the biggest guy that I look up to and like to watch box all the time is Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah, it's a given.
Yeah. Now let's talk Dr. Pepper, because your Dr. Pepper love went viral in March. Big deal after the Gustavo Lopez win. Has that always been like a post-fight celebration thing? And also, inquiring minds and lovers of soda want to know, what are the next 3 favorite sodas after Dr. Pepper?
Man, I gotta say, like, it's always been one of those drinks for me that like I have to abstain because I remember one day, like after this Gustavo fight, I was just downing Dr. Peppers. Man, I almost finished the whole 12 pack like within like a 4-hour span. Because I just kept going back and forth. So I really have to abstain because, man, dude, I will gain so much weight.
Yeah, that's not a fire diet.
So, yeah, that's why I like to stay active too. Because, man, like if I give myself a weekend and just down a couple Dr. Peppers, man, I'll let myself get away. But man, it's just my favorite drink, man. I just love it. It's like, and it's also like my first pro fight. I had a Dr. Pepper, like a liter Dr. Pepper waiting for me as soon as I got out the ring. I thought that was, like that was a really cool moment for me. And then, but my next couple favorite drinks, man, it's a hard one because like Dr. Pepper's so high up there on the list for me that it's like I'd probably have to go with Sprite,
All
and
right.
then Sprite, the usual casual stuff, and then it has to be a Mexican Coke. It can't be the one
Oh.
plastic bottle or anything,
All right.
because that was like probably at 5.
Yeah.
It has to be in the glass bottle, Mexican Coke style. Then after that, it's a Pepsi, and then after that, it's probably regular Coke. But man, I'm missing a lot of good ones because you have Squirt, the Manzanita Soul, man. Like you got a lot of good ones, man. But at the end of the day, Dr. Pepper reigns over all of them. 23 flavors of goodness. Again, I will never stop, man. I think I don't know if it was a gimmick read or like it was just a fake story, but there's I think 101-year-old lady who said that she drank Dr. Pepper almost every day and she lived to 101 years old. And I was like, you know what? It might be a think piece.
Maybe.
It might be a mistake, but I'm running with it.
One of these days we have to do like a soda taste test interview that we because I love soda too, and it's terrible for us, but it's addictive. It's like liquid Coke. But Randy Costa, actually, one of the least experienced guys you fought in terms of actual fights, professional fights. But it feels like the consensus belief is he's maybe the most talented fighter you're gonna fight so far. Is he like the best guy talent wise you face? And if he is, what makes him stand out compared to other guys that you have fought?
Man, honestly, the biggest thing that makes him stand out from everybody else is that once he takes that center of the octagon, he doesn't want to take a step back. Like, he doesn't want to take a step back.
Yeah.
He wants to go out there and be explosive the whole entire time. And he wants to knock your head off. Even if he gets tired, he's still trying to knock your head off every single moment, every single second. He's just constantly trying to press forward, trying to throw something heavy leather, heavy knees, heavy hands, anything. So, you have to be on your P's and Q's whenever you're fighting him. As far as talent, I believe he has a lot. He has a lot of talent, especially with him being so young in his career. I think he's like 7 fights in his overall career.
Mm-hmm.
His toughest fight was Brandon Davis, but I think that was also kind of a short notice too. So,
Yeah.
Man, it's one of those. It's gonna be a tough one. He's a great fighter, but also I've had a lot of fights. I've had a good amount of fights, 16 pro fights, and I've fought a lot of different type of fighters. I fought people with 6 foot, 6 foot, like 5'11". I've always fought someone taller than me, bigger than me. They all pose different problems. But every single time I fought somebody that was supposed to beat me, I would go out there and win. Well, shoot, even the toughest fight that I've had, Kyle Estrada, they talk about Randy's kicks. I feel that Kyle Estrada's kicks were actually much more dangerous because he set everything up. He would set everything up instead of just exploding once, exploding, kind of loading up on the kick. So, I do see like a lot of experience that I had like is really favorable in this fight. But also, he's young, he's hungry, and even though he's somewhat inexperienced, he's just one of those guys you can't take lightly.
And you have a style that you like to take the center, pull pressure on people. How does that kind of situation work out in your experience? How do you think this is gonna work out? 2 guys that want to pressure, want to take the center. Is there just no other way? It's gonna have to just be a battle of wills until somebody says, "Okay, I'll be the one that backs up."
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be one of those. But also, I can also fight on the back foot.
Okay.
Like I can definitely fight on the back foot, and I see a lot of things that I like whenever he's being super aggressive. But my game plan also is just one of those that I don't like taking the steps back. Even though I can fight on the back foot, I try not to. I don't really like. It's just one of those things that I don't like feeling like I'm walking backwards. I'd rather cut the angle. But honestly, it is probably going to end up being one of those that he's going to have to be the one that takes a step back because I don't want to take a step back. I really don't. Like, I want to control the center, and whenever I control the center, I'm not giving it up. It's like King of the Hill for me. It's like, no, that's my center of the cage, and it's not going to be anybody else's but my own. Look, I can fight on the back foot, but will I? It depends. I have to see where everything goes, how everything plans out. If I see something I like, especially on the back foot, and it's really working out where I could see a finish coming, like I'll do it. But I really don't think I'm gonna take a step back. I want to be going forward the whole entire time.
Now he did an interview with the MMA Junkie like a month or so ago. Like he's very respectful, very complimentary of you. Called you a role model for the sport, a savage. When you have a situation like that, especially such a contrast to the Gustavo fight, where Gustavo was talking so much shit before the fight, like is it harder to get up and prepare to rip this man's head off because he is so nice, so respectful, or just knowing how dangerous he is, how he can rip your head off? That's more than enough reason to prepare and be ready on fight night.
Oh man, it's honestly one of those things that it's honestly kind of made it easier for me to get ready to go train. Like,
Okay.
because I know his skills, I know how hungry he is, and man, he's a really good guy. But also at the same time, whenever you get two guys who really respect each other, those are the fights that actually like turn out to be barn burners. You know, those are the fights that everybody like. Those like, oh man, they're super nice to each other. Man, that fight ain't probably gonna do anything. Then all of a sudden, next day after the weigh-ins, you see them and they're fighting. They get the fight of the night. So honestly, to me, it's been one of those for me. I just get up and I'm happy to go train. I'm happy to go prepare for a guy. You know, even though he's not talking shit like Gustavo was. You know, and for me, it wasn't really it was kind of easy for me just to let with whatever insults that he had, whatever he was, the mess that he was talking. It was just easy for me to kind of just roll it off my shoulders, just because like I knew at the end of the day we're gonna have to fight anyways, you know. So to me, even like this whole niceness and all this camaraderie between us, man, you don't have to motivate me to fight at all. Like, I love fighting. This is what I love to do, man. I get to do this for a day job. So to me, this is like the best part. Like I wake up, you know, and on those days that I feel like I don't want to do anything, I'm just like, man, I get to do it. I get to get up and go. Like I love this. Like there's mornings it'd be like waking up like, oh fuck, my body's hurting. Oh shit, it hurts. But you get up, you get moving, you're like, this ain't so bad, man. I get to go live my dream. This is fun. This is fine. So that's been my whole mindset, especially like for this camp, man. Doing a little new things here and there, being able to learn a little bit more, because I never really got out of shape from that Gustavo fight. I've always been in the gym consistently. So, man, I'm ready. I'm excited. You know, I know he's ready. He's excited. He wants to put me out. I want to put him out. Mm-hmm. So and also at the same time, we don't have the mess talking that would. You know, I don't have to go out there and like be like, man, fuck you, Randy, or anything like that. Or he's not going out there like, hey, fuck you, Randy. Oh. It's like, hey, man, your drink sucks. No, hey, your candy sucks. Like, hey, like it's play banter. You know, it's respectable and all that. But at the end of the day, we still have to go in there. We still have to duke it out. So it changes nothing. We got to go out there and fight, and I'm prepared for it. I'm ready for it.
Considering all the talent involved between you two, I mean, and mentioning both you guys kind of like to take the center and go forward and stuff like that, would it almost be surprising if there aren't fight bonuses coming from this fight, being it just an insane war or somebody get knocked out? Would it feel like you both had an off night and there is no fight bonus from this fight?
Man, I definitely feel like bonuses either way. I definitely feel, even if I get the stoppage, I feel like it's still going to be a fight of the night worthy. I don't think it's going to be potential night. I think either way it goes, I think it's fight of the night. There's a lot of good fighters on this card, a lot of great fights, a lot of stylistically great fights on this card. But I still think with how come forward he is and how much of a pressure fighter I like being, I just feel that at the end of the day, it's going to be a really great fight. And honestly, I really can't wait. I'm ready. Like, July 24th can't come fast enough for me.
Now, it's crazy that UFC 262 comes in Houston. They don't put Adrian Yanez on the fight. He's not on the card. You're from Houston. Then UFC 265 now is here, back in Houston, and it's like 3 weeks after this fight. One, is there a frustration like, damn, just get me on this card? Or in a way, do you have to look at the bright side? On this card, you're going to be on the main card, more of a feature bout, bigger opportunity. Do you have to look like, you know what, it'll happen when it happens. On that card, I might have just been prelims, maybe looked at, now I'm getting more of a spot. How do you feel? Like, do you feel like business-wise, okay, or this is bullshit, stop screwing around?
Oh, man, it's a bit of both. It's definitely a bit of both. I think it's a bit of bullshit on all of it now. It's like, come on, y'all knew y'all wanted to come back 2 weeks later. Man, I don't know, man. I feel like I missed out on two of them. So like it does suck. It does suck because man, that's been a dream of mine just to be able to fight in the Toyota Center in my hometown. Uh, and man, like just two opportunities missed, and I'm just like man, what? Like, dude, come on, man. Like, really? Uh, but at the end of the day, as long as I get to go, I feel the energy and everything. I feel like that'll somewhat make do for me.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I looked at I looked at the updated card and just saw that updated card. But I saw the TV listings, and man, like I come to find out, we're actually on the prelims on this fight, man. Which sucks.
Really?
Yeah,
Ah.
like, dude, you got two guys who've been promoting this. MMA Twitter's been going nuts about it. I was like, man, we got switched over to prelims, man. All right, whatever, man. It bums me out, but also at the same time, just like, well, the next one would be sweeter whenever we go out there, and go out there and fight. So it is kind of a bummer here and there, but also at the same time, I'm just realizing, like, look, I have a lot more work to do. I gotta keep continuing fighting. Probably this fight, depending if it is fight of the night, because I believe it will be.
Hmm.
I think it just boosts both of our stocks up, matter win or loss, and we'll get those main card slots anyways. So,
Yeah.
and then also too, probably I'll get to fight in Houston. So, either way, man, I'm still stoked for the fight. At the end of the day, man, still stoked because I got a great fighter, and then anyways, like I was on the prelims on October, and I still got so much, like I still got the love and shine back in October,
Okay.
and I did get a main card slot off of March 20th, uh, and I still saw the amount of shine that I got there. But
Yeah.
I feel either way, like if we just perform, we're gonna get shine either way.